Mr. Andy Summers, thank you very much for taking the time this morning. You are going out on your Cracked Lens tour, which will be at the Cabot Theater in beautiful Beverly, Massachusetts on July 21st. This is a mixed media show. It's your music to your set to your photography. Is it just you, or are you going to be with a band?
No, it's just me. That's the point of it. One guitarist and large screen and a lot of photographs.
When you're putting a show like this together, I know you've done this before, but do you look at a photo and say, hey, I've got a great piece of music for this or for this series of photos? Or do you look at photos and maybe are you inspired to maybe write
it doesn't
stuff?
really work that way. No, I have thousands of photographs, and whereby I have everything in different categories and blah, 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 like that. So I have a pretty strong starting place. And you have to get into your archive and start looking at it all and thinking about it.
So, I mean, you've been, when did you really start taking photos seriously? I mean, was this before the police or during that time?
Right at the beginning, same time.
Okay. So, geez, so it must take, I mean, it must take days and days to go through the photos to find for the show. Do you plan out some kind of theme for the shows?
For a while. I mean, I built the basis of it about, before the pandemic, I was doing this show. And so, it's not brand new in July. I performed it about 10 times. And then, we all got struck down by COVID. And so this is the sort of renaissance, if you like. But it's interesting coming back to it because it's something that, we have to set up in my studio. It's a, projection, choice of photographs, so on and so forth, the music. Let's see if I still like it 3 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Play to it. I have to rehearse it just like anything else, just like a band or whatever. I get the whole sequence like the show, think about it, very simply, slow tune, faster tune, solo guitar, tune with a backing track, so on and so forth, until I feel I have something coherent. And then I practice it so that, it's just like anything else.
And are these photos, do they span the whole time of if you've been like as a photographer, or do you take a certain era?
Yeah, no, it's not done chronologically. It's done more like, one set of pictures. Everything is from China, and they're very exotic and beautiful, and they're shot in Chinese villages, things like that.
Do you tell the stories behind some of the photos also, or is it just you playing music?
Not really. No, I'm mostly just playing. But I think people like it when I talk, so I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm not a shy person. When I'm up there in front of the mic, I can do it. It comes to me pretty naturally. I'm up to the job.
Right.
I've done it before. So I'm not worried about it. In fact, I'm looking forward to getting it up on the wall again and looking at it again and seeing where we want to possibly change things. Also, in the world we're in, which is the sort of tech world, every few months there's some other new piece of technology that we can use that, and something changes. And so we try to incorporate those things.
Is there any similarity for you when you're writing music, creating music, and maybe studying something to photograph? Is there a similarity in the approach there, or completely different?
Well, I absolutely think so. Yeah, I've talked about this many times over the years. That you can use the terms of photography or the terms of music and apply them to photography. Whether you're looking for a line or a shape, like a musical shape, or a play off against a very dark, difficult chord against a simple light chord. I don't know, so on and so forth. I think that if you've been trained as a musician, you're probably going to have a better shot at photography than people who haven't been.
Would it be fair to say, as a musician, it's about feel, and then with photography, obviously, it's about the eye. It's about what you capture with your eye first?
It's not really the eye, it's the mind.
Okay.
The eye follows suit. If you can't think it, then you're not going to see it.
Okay.
But then you have to educate yourself and practice and all that, and gradually you find a way. You find a way of expression that becomes very personal, and it's your voice, if you like. And that's true in both photography and music.
I see a lot of your pictures are of some of them are of people on the street or people that you have seen on tour. Has anyone ever caught you taking a picture of them and said you better not publish that, or have you ever been in a confrontation about taking someone's picture?
Well, over the years, I'm sure there's been a couple of moments. Yeah, I did actually have a couple of moments. One was in France when a guy actually knocked me to the ground. It was yeah, that was pretty intense. I think he was just trying to steal my camera. I'm not sure what was going on. Or he didn't want me. He was a guy from North Africa, I think. And then recently, I was in Paris, and there's a crazy street in the Marais that I like to go to. It's completely intense. And I was there sort of subversively walking, with my camera. And the guy grabbed me and tried to kind of strong arm me. I got away from him, but
Jeez.
Yeah. It doesn't happen very often. It's very rare, but yeah, I can think of those two incidents right off the top of the pattern. That recent one, it's like Jesus.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It sounds like photography is a lot more dangerous than being a musician. Is it safe to say that?
Well, yeah, all of these. Once you're out in the world, who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, photography. If you're out, let's say you're out on the street in the city and you start raising a camera. I mean, you have to develop techniques that are pretty subversive so that people don't really know that you're taking pictures. It's very hard to raise your camera in someone's face and take a shot. You don't really want to do that too much. You have to be careful. You have to develop a sort of a street awareness, I think, which you do. You learn how to sort of. Well, one thing about the Leica, I would say, is it's a very small black camera that it's not like a big obvious camera. It's not like a huge Nikon with a gigantic lens or a Canon or one of those kind of things. It's a much smaller, more discreet camera, so you have possibly a better chance at not getting killed.
So do you like cover it up, or do you just kind of hold it by your side?
Yeah, I sometimes hold it under my arm. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not so obvious. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I tuck it under my jacket. If I was out in the world, as it were. Yeah.
Has anyone ever recognized you from your music while you were taking their picture?
Yeah, it's happened, but
yeah,
it's rare because I sort of, when I'm doing that kind of thing, I cover up. I usually put a hat on and I'm covered. So it's such a different context that most people are completely oblivious.
It sounds like it's like the complete opposite of playing music in front of a stadium full of people. You're like,
it is.
Yeah, it's like it's 180 degrees, right?
Yeah, because there you are, completely public. There's nowhere to hide. You got lights on you, so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a very different situation. But that's all right. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But it is weird going from like, hi, hello, 50,000 people, and now I'm the shadow in the corner in the street.
Right, you're trying to be low key, especially when you were in the police. You're trying to be low key, and you're in like the biggest band in the world. I'm sure that was a challenge.
Yeah, it's difficult, and but I do things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's once you leave the hotel or the stage, then you have to go sort of dark and subversive and sort of covered up. I mean, also you don't want people like seeing you with a camera and it's held up and it's pointing at them. You kind of learn to become invisible, if you like, in the street with a camera.
Well, I before I wrap it up here, I appreciate your time. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask at least one question about the police. And
okay.
I was reading an interview with Stuart Copeland, and he was saying that the only reason you guys are really good friends still is because you don't work together. And that was that was the problem. You guys are great friends until you get in a studio or on a stage, and in his words, without having to deal with the other two pricks, we remain good friends.
Okay. Well, it's a sort of I don't think we are good friends actually.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not hanging out at all. That's bullshit.
Or you're not buddies.
So well, we're colleagues that made something that was a worldwide success, but we're not on the phone with each other every 5 minutes. We just aren't. We're an ongoing. I suppose this current term is brand. That just goes on and on and on. We sell a lot of records, and we have to agree on re-releases, new packages, this thing, that thing. The business itself, although we're not making new records, has never stopped. So on that level, we generally get along fine. We get approached by Universal to write this release, and we have people who help us with all this stuff. But it's an ongoing I say brand, that still makes money. And so, there are several people who want to get involved. So on that level, we're in touch with each other. That's it. Stuart says something like that in an interview. It sounds kind of good in an interview, but it's not actually the truth. We're not really good friends all hanging out. We know each other, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. Right.
And we all moved on.
Yeah. And you've had enough of each other.
Well, if they said, we're going to do another police reunion tour and you're going to, make 500 million, you go, guess we're going to be friends for a while. Well, what would you do? We did the other one.
Right. And that was one of the highest selling tours in history, right? The 2007
one. The biggest one at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you come together and you're reasonable, and we are a great band when we play together. So you put the music back together, and then, you're on stage together, and then you lead your separate lives while you're on the tour, and then you carry on again,
Right.
It's a sort of a myth, it's like when you're kids and you're starting out and it's your first band, or, you're all hanging out together. But, it's, with a band like the Police, of course, it's huge business. It's very involved, political, power plays, all the rest of it, all the stuff you can imagine.
Well, he said in the same interview, there's a 1 in a million chance you guys would get back together.
I'd say less. Quite far.
Well, if there's...
Well, no, unless anybody suddenly desires to make a lot of money and go through the whole thing of putting the band back together. It's a huge setup. To do that. It's big business. I would probably not turn it down, but I'm certainly not sitting around thinking about it.
Yeah. Well,
good luck. It was incredible that we had all that. We were very lucky people. We were lucky to meet each other and lucky to have the success we had. And thank the Lord, praise the Lord. That we all had that. For musicians starting out, that's what everybody wants, of course, it went beyond anything normal in the case of the Police, because it was such a sort of worldwide raging success. It went on for about 8 years. Amazing. And probably never to be repeated. Of course, we're not in that era now, because you don't even make records anymore. So that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if there's going to be no Police reunion, then what about the Don Talien's Chariot reunion? There've been a lot of people demanding that, I think.
Yeah, that's huge.
A lot of very stoned people demanding that.
Yeah. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I actually like that stuff. I thought it was pretty good, but
it was at the time, and it was very good, and we did what we could at the time. But I don't know. Yeah, we all have histories.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, Andy Summers, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Cabot in Beverly.